Have you ever noticed your erection suddenly weakening right at the moment when you expect your body to respond with full power? Many men over 50 feel this happening during masturbation, and they often blame age, stress, or even think something is permanently wrong with their penis. But what if the real cause is hidden in the way you are stimulating yourself? I am Dr. Emily Collins, urologist, and today I want to guide you through the honest, science-based truth about masturbation, erection, strength, and the 3 silent mistakes that can make the penis lose firmness almost instantly. This topic is not about judgment. Masturbation is healthy. It supports circulation, helps maintain penile tissue elasticity, boosts sexual confidence, and keeps your erection mechanism active. The problem is that many men, often without realizing it, build habits that weaken the connection between arousal, nerve response, and consistent blood flow. When this happens repeatedly, the penis begins to lose sensitivity, the erection becomes unpredictable, and your body starts depending on fast, unnatural stimulation to stay hard. That is exactly where the decline begins. So let us talk openly. Your erection is not just a physical reaction. It is a communication system between your brain, nerves, hormones, and vascular pathways. When one of these elements gets overstimulated or misdirected, the penis reacts immediately. That is why certain masturbation patterns can destroy your erection in seconds. And the surprising part is that men over 50 are even more vulnerable to these mistakes because the tissues are naturally more sensitive to changes in pressure, rhythm, and arousal patterns. You might not even know you are doing anything harmful. But what you will discover now can shift the way you understand your sexual health. As we move forward, I want you to reflect on your own experience. Have you ever felt your erection fading during masturbation, even when desire was high? This might be your body asking for correction, not medication. Stay with me, because what comes next may reveal exactly why your penis is reacting this way and how simple changes can restore natural firmness. Before we continue, tell me in the comments if you have ever noticed your erection weakening unexpectedly. Your interaction helps this message reach more men who need it. Also, do not forget to like this video and check if you are already subscribed to the channel. Now let us move ahead. Because understanding the first mistake is the key to restoring the power you thought you had lost. As we continue, it becomes essential to understand why masturbation affects men differently after the age of 50. Many men believe the body should respond exactly as it did at 20 or 30, but the biological reality silently shifts with time. The erection mechanism is still perfectly capable, yet it becomes more sensitive to patterns, pressure changes, and stimulation habits. To understand the 3 mistakes that weaken erections, we first need to look at what naturally changes inside the penis as the years pass. After 50, the smooth muscle fibers inside the penile chambers begin to lose elasticity, and this affects how blood fills and stays trapped during arousal. Circulation also becomes more reactive. Small disruptions, whether physical or psychological, have a stronger impact on the firmness of the erection. Nerve endings that once responded quickly may require more consistent signals. And hormonal rhythms, especially testosterone, shape how responsive the brain is to sexual stimulation. None of this means a man becomes incapable. It simply means the body needs healthier patterns, not harsher ones. During masturbation, these physiological details matter. If the rhythm is too fast, too aggressive, too mechanical, or too disconnected from natural arousal, the body interprets the stimulation as unstable. The erection depends on sustained blood flow, and anything that breaks this flow, even momentarily, can make the penis soften. Many men blame age, but what is actually happening is that the penis is trying to protect itself from overstimulation, tension, or patterns that overstress the tissues. Another important factor is sensory adaptation. When the penis receives the same type of friction in the same way for months or years, the nerves start reducing sensitivity as a protective response. This does not happen overnight. It is subtle, progressive, and often ignored. Until the man suddenly notices that he needs stronger stimulation just to feel the same level of excitement. The moment this cycle begins, natural erections become weaker because they no longer match the artificial intensity that the brain has grown accustomed to. Your erection reflects these internal changes with remarkable precision. If the tissues are tense, the response weakens. If the nerves are overstimulated, the sensation drops. If the circulation is confused by inconsistent signals, the firmness fades. Understanding these details is the foundation. Only then can we identify the first major mistake that silently destroys erection quality during masturbation and leads many men to believe something is wrong when the solution is often much simpler than they think. Now that you understand how the body becomes more sensitive after 50, it becomes easier to see why the first major mistake is so damaging: stimulating yourself too quickly. Many men fall into this pattern without realizing it. They begin with a fast rhythm, trying to recreate the intensity they remember from younger years, or they speed up instinctively as soon as they feel arousal building. But when the stimulation becomes too rapid, the brain receives mixed signals, and the erection mechanism struggles to stabilize. The penis depends on a steady rise in excitement, not a sudden rush that overwhelms the nerves. Rapid stimulation forces the body to shift into a state of urgency instead of pleasure. The brain interprets the fast movement as a demand for climax rather than a buildup of arousal. When that happens repeatedly, the body adapts by shortening the time it maintains firmness. This is why many men notice their erection fading the moment they change rhythm, adjust their grip, or even pause briefly. The system has been conditioned to expect speed, not natural pacing. Once that pattern is established, the erection becomes fragile and unreliable. Another issue created by rapid stimulation is the reduction of sensory detail. The nerves inside the penis are designed to respond to gradual pressure changes, warmth, rhythm, and emotional context. Fast friction overwhelms these signals and forces the nerves to protect themselves by lowering sensitivity. Over time, the penis responds less to subtle touch and more only to the intense movement it has been repeatedly exposed to. This leads to the frustrating cycle where slow stimulation no longer feels pleasurable, and natural arousal becomes weaker. Blood flow also reacts negatively to excessive speed. Erections rely on smooth, consistent filling of the penile chambers. Rapid movements can momentarily disrupt this pressure, causing micro-interruptions that make the penis soften unexpectedly. Many men interpret this as erectile dysfunction, but often it is simply the result of a pattern that does not match how the body naturally maintains firmness. When the rhythm becomes too aggressive, the muscles surrounding the vessels may tense, reducing the amount of blood able to stay inside the penis. The emotional aspect plays a role too. Fast stimulation removes the mind-body connection and turns the experience into a mechanical act. Without anticipation, self-awareness, or emotional grounding, the erection loses part of its psychological support. The penis reacts not only to physical stimulation but also to the meaning behind it. When the act becomes rushed, detached, or overly performance-driven, the erection weakens. Because the brain is not engaged in a healthy way. Understanding this first mistake is essential because it sets the stage for the deeper patterns that affect erection quality. Recognizing how speed influences nerve response, circulation, and mental engagement allows you to see why so many men unknowingly train their bodies to depend on fast stimulation while simultaneously weakening the natural erection mechanism. The second mistake is one that affects more men than they realize, and it has a powerful impact on erection strength: using excessive pressure or gripping the penis too tightly during masturbation. This habit often develops gradually. A man might begin increasing pressure to intensify sensation, especially if sensitivity has already diminished from years of rapid stimulation. But over time, this firm grip becomes the only way the penis responds, and the natural ability to maintain an erection is quietly damaged. When the grip is too strong, the nerves responsible for transmitting pleasure signals become compressed. These nerves are delicate, and consistent pressure makes them less responsive to subtle touch. You may still feel stimulation during the moment, but outside of that specific pattern, the penis reacts with far less intensity. Many men report that during partnered sex, the erection fades because the body has been conditioned to expect a level of tightness that human touch simply does not replicate. This mismatch is one of the leading reasons why erections weaken during intimacy after years of using excessive pressure alone. The blood vessels inside the penis are equally vulnerable. Erections depend on smooth, unobstructed blood flow. When the grip restricts circulation, even temporarily, it sends a disruptive signal to the system. Instead of allowing the chambers to fill naturally, the pressure interferes with the inflow and outflow of blood. This not only reduces firmness in the moment but also trains the penis to rely on mechanical force rather than healthier arousal pathways. Over time, this reduces vascular responsiveness and creates a pattern where the erection collapses easily. There is also the issue of tactile memory. The penis learns the sensations it receives most often. If the primary form of stimulation is intense, tight, and highly localized, the body builds a dependency on that specific pattern. When stimulation is softer, slower, or more varied, the nerve pathways do not activate the same way, making the erection weaker or inconsistent. This is not a failure of masculinity or age. It is simply how the nervous system adapts to repeated experiences. For many men, this habit becomes so ingrained that they do not realize how much it shapes their sexual response. They assume the issue is hormonal decline or stress, when in reality, the penis has been conditioned into a state where natural touch does not produce the same result. Correcting this pattern is absolutely possible, but it begins with recognizing how deeply the grip influences erection quality. Before we move on, share in the comments if you have ever questioned why your erection feels different during real intimacy compared to when you are alone. Your experience may help others understand this process more clearly. The third mistake is one of the most powerful and misunderstood influences on erection quality, relying on intense artificial stimulation. This includes fast-switching visual content, extreme sexual scenarios, overly stimulating audio cues, or any form of high-intensity arousal that the brain cannot reproduce naturally during real intimacy. Many men do not realize how deeply this affects their erection because the change happens slowly, almost invisibly, until the body no longer responds with the same strength in normal situations. Artificial stimulation affects the brain first. Erections begin in the mind, not in the penis. When the brain becomes conditioned to expect rapid novelty or exaggerated visual intensity, its reward centers adapt. Dopamine spikes quickly, but the baseline of excitement becomes harder to reach. Over time, the brain requires more stimulation just to trigger the same level of arousal. This means that the natural signals from touch, connection, anticipation, and physical presence start to feel weaker in comparison. The penis follows the brain, and the erection becomes dependent on the artificial cues rather than the real sensations of your own body. Another issue is sensory overload. When the brain processes too many competing signals, it has difficulty sending consistent messages to the nerves that regulate erection firmness. The penis needs a stable flow of nerve impulses to maintain rigidity. High-intensity artificial stimulation interrupts this rhythm, creating an unstable pattern that can make the erection soften suddenly. Many men think this is a vascular problem, but often it is simply the nervous system trying to cope with overstimulation. Artificial cues also distort pacing. Real sexual arousal builds gradually, allowing the penis to fill fully and stay firm through coordinated muscle and vascular reactions. But artificial intensity forces the mind into a rapid arousal spike without the natural progression. This teaches the body to bypass the slower, healthier buildup that erections depend on. As a result, when stimulation is slower or more intimate, the penis struggles to maintain firmness because it has been conditioned to expect overwhelming input instead of steady physical and emotional engagement. A final consequence is emotional disconnection. Erections thrive on presence, focus, and a sense of internal awareness. Artificial overstimulation pulls attention outward and fragments it, making the experience more mechanical than sensual. With time, the body forgets how to respond to gentle touch, eye contact, or emotional closeness. The erection becomes tied to intensity instead of connection, and this shift weakens the natural erection pathway. Understanding how artificial stimulation changes the brain and the penis is crucial because it reveals why so many men over 50 feel their erection weakening even when desire is still present. It is not failure. It is conditioning. And just as the body can learn harmful patterns, it can also unlearn them with the right approach. Now that the 3 destructive mistakes are clear, the next step is understanding how to reverse their effects and restore a natural, strong, and consistent erection during masturbation. The body is highly adaptive, which means it can relearn healthy patterns just as easily as it learned harmful ones. What most men do not realize is that improving erection quality after 50 is not only possible but often faster than expected once the stimulation habits align with how the penis actually functions. The first correction involves pacing. Instead of beginning with fast or intense movement, the body responds far better to a slow and progressive buildup. This gives the nerves time to activate gradually and allows blood flow to deepen inside the penile chambers. When stimulation begins gently, the erection grows more stable because the pressure is not disrupted or forced. Many men notice that even small adjustments in the opening moments dramatically improve how long the firmness lasts, simply because the body is not being overwhelmed. The second correction is reducing grip intensity. This does not mean removing pressure entirely, but rather allowing the penis to feel a broader range of sensations. Softer touch encourages the nerves to re-engage and increases sensitivity over time. When the brain no longer expects force, it becomes easier for natural arousal signals to take over. Some men experience, after a short period of adjustment, a surprising return of sensations they thought they had permanently lost. This happens because the nerves finally have space to recover and respond without compression. The third correction involves recalibrating the mind. The brain must relearn how to become aroused from the internal experience rather than external overstimulation. A simple way to begin is by minimizing artificial intensity and focusing more on physical sensations, breathing patterns, and mental presence. This shift helps rebuild the connection between the brain and the erection mechanism. Without the constant pull of extreme visual cues, the natural arousal pathways strengthen, again, making it easier to maintain firmness during slower or more intimate stimulation. Another important factor is circulation. Men over 50 benefit greatly from incorporating gentle pelvic floor activation and abdominal breathing during masturbation. These 2 elements increase pelvic blood flow and help trap blood more effectively inside the penis. When combined with slower pacing and lighter grip, the erection becomes thicker and more durable because the vascular system is allowed to function without interruption. Recovery is also essential. If the penis has been exposed to years of high pressure or overstimulation, small periods of reduced intensity can give the tissues time to regain elasticity. This does not require abstinence but rather mindful stimulation that supports rather than stresses the erection. Over time, these corrected habits form a new pattern that strengthens responsiveness. Each of these corrections sets the foundation for a practical method that men can use to restore firm, natural erections during masturbation. That method becomes fully clear when we bring all the elements together. When you combine all the corrections we discussed, what emerges is a simple, practical method that men over 50 can use to recover a strong and natural erection during masturbation. The key is consistency, not intensity. Begin by setting a slower rhythm from the very first touch. Think of it as teaching your nervous system to feel again. The goal is not immediate climax but rebuilding the pathway that connects arousal, sensory perception, and blood flow. Allow the penis to warm gradually and respond without urgency. This alone stabilizes erection strength far more effectively than most men expect. Next, choose a grip that supports sensation rather than compressing it. A lighter touch may feel unfamiliar at first, especially if your body has adapted to years of forceful stimulation. But with each session, the nerves recover their responsiveness. You may start noticing nuance and sensations that had faded long ago. This shift is one of the clearest signs that your erection mechanism is recalibrating and becoming healthier. Keep the focus on comfort and awareness rather than performance. As you move forward, engage your breathing. Deep abdominal breaths increase blood flow to the pelvic region and help maintain fullness inside the penile chambers. Many men find that even a mild activation of the pelvic floor muscles creates a surprising boost in firmness. This happens because circulation stabilizes, allowing the erection to remain strong without relying on aggressive stimulation. When your body begins to respond positively to these new patterns, progress builds quickly. Another core element of the method is lowering artificial input. Reducing intense visual stimulation allows your brain to reconnect with physical sensations instead of depending on external novelty. Your erection becomes guided by the natural experience rather than exaggerated cues. The more you focus on touch, rhythm, and internal arousal, the easier it becomes to sustain firmness. Over time, your body begins to anticipate this healthier form of stimulation, making the erection more reliable even outside masturbation. What truly makes this method effective is how each element supports the others. Slower rhythm protects circulation. Softer grip restores nerve sensitivity. Controlled breathing enhances blood flow. Less artificial stimulation strengthens mental presence. Together, they recreate the natural conditions under which the penis thrives, even after decades of habits that may have weakened it. This is not about forcing your body to perform. It is about giving it the environment it needs to respond with strength again. If you have followed the entire journey until here, it means this topic resonates with you. Consider leaving a comment with the phrase "I am here until the end so I know you stayed with me." And if this content helped clarify your own experience, feel free to subscribe to the channel so you do not miss the next steps in reclaiming your sexual vitality. A like also helps this message reach more men who need guidance. There is another video right here that continues this conversation in a meaningful way, so click and keep exploring this path with me.